We're into our third game of the night, and as Trouble said correctly, you know, BTXL, they are one of the tougher competitions, or one of the tougher pieces of teams that you're going to have to face. That sentence, I'm going to restart. Yeah, BTXL are a hard team to beat. European Masters finalists, NLC champions, but Singularity have got a really experienced roster. They're one of the teams that kept their roster together from spring, so they have that cohesion, that team ethic already in place. And actually, we saw some really, really good stuff from them yesterday as well. And I think Singularity were always coined, and when you heard in the interviews, they talked about it as the teams that want to try and challenge those academy teams. And I think Singularity are one of those rosters that can definitely do that. And with XL, even admittedly from Marku in the interview yesterday, said, haven't had much time to scrim. We've really had a long extended vacation break to ensure that we're kind of mentally rested coming from split to split. We're still working out the meta. We're still working out what works for us. You know, if you're going to strike while the iron is hot, the iron is hot right now on XL, and that's where Singularity may have the edge.
And honestly, if I'm a new viewer and I just watched BTXL play yesterday and Singularity play yesterday, I'd be like, wow, Singularity are looking really good coming into the specific matchup. And even knowing that, you know, BTXL are struggling, even Kerber said that their team are struggling with the meta and a lot are changing, the people are transitioning, and the scrims have just started with all the leagues. So I don't think that BTXL is the only team trying to figure things out. But if you're going to pull a win against them, I think now is the time to hit, like you mentioned as well.
A lot of solo lane bans coming out here from both teams right now. Obviously, we know Lee Sin can go jungle, but let's be real, he's been more of a solo lane pick in the recent meta. Renekton, Nocturne, and Lee Sin already taken off the table. XL now thinking pretty carefully about that second ban. Usually we do see teams run through a rattled sort of ban strategy, but they are thinking very carefully. But Gwen, very popular ban right now. Gwen and Viego really hitting the ban lists pretty frequently. I don't think we've seen a single Gwen play, a single Gwen game in the NLC thus far. There was only one game where she was left open and no one picked her. So, you know, Gwen still very popular to be a ban.
Yeah, jury's still out on it. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see until like the sort of hype dies down and teams either figure out how to play her and then we start seeing her, or teams just drop the bans entirely and then people start to pick her up. I personally still think she's a bit of a counter pick champion. I don't think she's this almighty sort of blindable pick. Viego, on the other hand, a little more in that blindable side in my opinion. But bans, no real surprise. Lee Sin and Renekton, I still think have 100% pick ban presence in the NLC for our first 8 games now, or at least 8 they're strong champions, what can I say? Seraphine away from Deadly, I think yesterday in the Resolve game was one of the sole reasons why XL were able to hold on for so long. XL, they'll get poked out or they'll get chunked out a little bit, and then Seraphine would just continue to keep these guys healthy. And Varus also in the same boat, by the way, as Renekton and Lee Sin, 100% presence so far, I believe.
And I think if any team would pick Viego first pick, it would be Singularity. I think Weizo is really into bruises / assassins, but the tank more. We haven't necessarily really talked about the tank more going into the likes of Wits End. We've seen Randuin's on him. We've seen the shield more on him. This thing is literally a tank. It's a tower that's permanently hitting you, and something alongside the likes of Brom that keeps him extremely protected. Or you can go something into like the Enchanter style with the Karmas and the Lulus, depending on what you see on the other side. I wouldn't be surprised to see that being run on the bot lane.
Yeah, I'm super happy about Thresh being locked in. I think even though you typically do see Kog'Maw locked in with the Enchanter type supports, I think just removing it away is such a big deal, especially when Rumble's up. And if Markoon wants to take it, then all of a sudden, if SNG want to lock in an Enchanter, which is typically an immobile champion, they're going to have to constantly deal with these equalizers. So I love the rotation here from BTXL, and I think now for Singularity, you're probably looking at trying to sort of answer out in this jungle and try and match the support in the best way you can. You probably want to try and lock in something that can facilitate the Kog'Maw. Maybe something like an Orianna for the mid lane could do them some justice. They will suffer against the Rumble, but at least can buy some space in that regard for Fury if he wants it, but I'm not necessarily sure that it's necessarily his playstyle right now.
Morgana gets locked in here, so that's a pick that we have seen mirror Rumble a lot. And you know, for instance, MSI, if you watch, obviously a lot of us will have watched MSI, we saw the Rumble Morgana mirroring pretty frequently, but does mean that you're kind of wanting to put an AD mid laner into the mix for Singularity to make sure you're having a relatively solid mixed damage profile. Yasuo would be one of those picks. You haven't really got many facilitating picks for the Yasuo as of yet, which would maybe lean us towards a support that does facilitate. Jace comes through though, so Yasuo not actually getting locked in. That does give you a bit of flexibility with the Jace too. We can play him in that top lane or even in that mid lane if we need to.
I just see here that Singularity are trying to play BTXL from a distance, and honestly, seeing the Rumble come in, seeing the Thresh come in, having sort of more of a poke-oriented composition wouldn't necessarily harm you. But now, assuming that this chase goes in the top lane, what other choices do you have for a tank other than a Braum who doesn't necessarily provide you with hard engages, more sort of kiting potential? And on the other hand, you have a Rumble equalizer that will fall onto an extremely immobile Kog'Maw because you don't have the Thresh. You have the Jinx hitting you with rockets from really far away. You've got the Thresh hooks that are threatening again an immobile carry such as the Kog'Maw, such as the Jace. So I would like to see some tankiness coming in through for Singularity and some sort of hard engage that they can force situations with, because previously with Resolve we saw they had no trigger button and that really hurt them in the late game.
Totally agree. And right now, SNG, they're in dire need of it. And XL, they even remove away the Nautilus just in case they think about it. So the only real options left for SNG is something like that Leona, which, I mean, with Kog'Maw has a surprising amount of lane damage early on. He can actually threaten a lot of all-ins if he's given enough time, and if there is enough disrespect from Deadly and Avian, which from time to time we saw sort of early on in the regular split last split. So let's see if they are going to opt into that. I think SNG rightfully so banning away Malphite, because Malphite can lane pretty handily into Jason. I think playing Kog'Maw against Malphite is just, it's not fun. So I think now for XL, you're probably looking towards an AD laner. I'm not really sure what options there are. Oh wow, just lock in Viego like this. So I mean, it's now going to be providing a lot of strong skirmishing with this Rumble. So this is probably going to be a relatively heavy roaming death squad if Viego is allowed to sort of exit the lane. Maybe you'll see Marcoon walk into this Viego lane, buy in priority, and they move over to a side lane, unless the Viego is stop.
But another question comes through again, right? Viego's a flex. He could go into the hands of a Rome. He could go into the hands of Hatrix. It does relatively okay versus the Jace, but then you can have the last answer into what do you want to put versus the Jace? Do you want to put potentially a mage that can play him range to range and put a Rome onto the side lane with the Viego maybe, or do you want Hatrix? My answer probably would be putting Hatrix onto the Viego, putting versus a mate, and just have him roaming around the map with the Rumble. I think this could create more havoc in the map, but then knowing the skirmishing potential of Rumble and another AP damage dealer from the mid lane, that could also be extremely strong. I'm not sure how sold I am on SNG's draft, and it could actually get worse depending on what XL decide to lock in on R5 right here. I'm just going to wait for the timer to tick. I am just going to wait for the timer to tick because they've got quite a few options here. Wukong's going to be the lock-in, and I just kind of feel like Dragdar's going to have a hard time in this game, especially if XL get going, if they allow the Wukong to kind of scale free. The Wukong set lane is kind of, I can't remember how this matchup goes. I think it's kind of like skill matchup 50-50. But again, he's got the backup of Rumble. The top side skirmishing on this XL draft is absolutely bonkers. And if they decide to pick on a side lane, it's just, there's not really much response from SNG outside of, you know, hoping an XL overextend, and then there's just TPs that come down to punish it. Basically, we just are not sure if Dragda is actually going to be able to play the game in general versus this composition, because I think it's so Pfeiffer, the fact that Morgana has been locked in, but Rumble breaks her shield so easily, and then you basically just have AD damage dealers. So the Black Shield doesn't mean anything other than stopping any CC that will come your way, and even that, the Equalizer will break it instantly the second it goes down. A Karma Shield, will it be enough? There's not much peeling, and there's so many people piling onto the Kog'Maw. Set's going to be able to only grab one and throw him away. So I'm going to side with BTXL's draft here as well.
Actually, the Wukong pick remedies a lot of the problems that we saw from the Resolve draft as well. Like, the Wukong is the go button if you need it, right? So if you want to get, well, we saw it from Nordavind, the Wukong Rumble combo, really insane if you can make it work together nicely. I'm excited to see this. I do think Singularity is a great team. You know, I think they're a good team that can genuinely challenge those academy rosters like BTXL. And as we said, if you're going to strike BTXL, now is the time to do it while they're still ramping up towards their final form. Let's see if Singularity can do it. Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much, Scoundrel. Now, we have had a bit of a brief discussion about the teams, well, the rosters for, not rosters, sorry, team comps that have been locked in. There we go. I've got there in the end. There we go. 3 games and my brain's fried already. I honestly do agree with what the desk was saying about, you know, is Kog'Maw going to get to play? If by some miracle, XL just sit back for like 15 minutes and just like Dragtar like farm up and then slowly get stronger and stronger, then I think Singularity have a really nice comp. But I just don't think XL are the team that are going to lay their foot off the gas. and Singularity, sure, you basically got kind of double support in the fact that you got the black shields, you got just the normal shields from the Karma and stuff like that. Like, realistically, I don't think it's going to be enough. I really don't.
I'm going to ask you a question. Have
Go
you
on.
been sold the tank Cockmore technology yet?
Yes, I actually quite like this tank Cogmore. Because it's first item Wit's End, right? Or
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be, because usually what you do in tank Cockmore is that you start boots and you go 4 pots, and then you just ramp them down with your movement speed and the auto attacks, but it seems like that's not the way they're going to go. Quick, what's the MasterCard Nexus today?
BTXL kept the same roster and returned from a historical spring season where they won the NLC for the first time, as well as making it all the way to the EU Masters Finals. Thank you, MasterCard Nexus Insights. Whew.
That is true. If you
Got out in time.
If you slept under a rock or just started following ERLs this time around, BTXL did play the finals last time. Didn't win it, unfortunately, but I think quite confidently we can say the second best team from last year's European Masters. So obviously there is a lot
Statistically,
of...
yes. It's not even a confidence thing. It's just like the numbers speak for themselves on that one, mate.
All right, but I know you're more like of a feeling guy than math guy, so I kind of wanted to pivot to you there. But yeah, then we got both insights there, so no one's confused now. The second best team from last European Masters. So obviously it does contain a lot of pressure into that name as well. BTXL yesterday really did not show up how we expected them to. They were very slow, but we had the interview with Macoon, or as a producer like to call him, Macaroon. And yeah, he was not too happy about it. He said they didn't have too much practice yet, so they're still trying out stuff. And Singularity, I feel like yesterday that gameplay was very slow as well. It felt like they didn't make too much out of that lane pressure they had when they finally had roam timings. So I'm afraid they might be punished if they haven't made that adaptations from yesterday. But both team comps right now can be very slow until a gank just comes through, because this is very gank heavy. I don't expect any solo kills to come through.
I mean,
Wow.
no, if Dragdar just walks into a free hook, had to burn his cleanse. They were affording themselves a bit of pressure in this bot lane, and off the back of that, that was pretty bad catch. And gonna shove this wave in, and maybe we see Dragdar go for a cheetah recall here. I think that's probably what he's gonna go for.
Third wave has not come through yet, so he can't actually afford anything yet.
Yeah, I guess it's only pots you can buy.
Yeah, I guess boots may... I'm actually not too sure, but in general, the cheetah recall does come through from the third wave, so did not have the time to do it, so all the gold to expend in what you really wanted to. But it is a double range bot lane, and usually when two champions down in this bot lane has longer range than the opponent, it's very easy for you to gain that priority, specifically for Karma, who has that AoE EQ as well. Mantra is really good at clearing out backline waves as well, so they're not going to be struggling with the wave clear from the side of Singularity, at least not down in this bot side of the map.
They are still shoving the waves in pretty heavily. They have also got their jungler on the side of the map, hence which is affording them the kind of safety to do so, even though Dragdar has already burnt a cleanse in the lane.
Here's the thing, though. So this is a slow push coming in from the BTXL bot lane. A bit of one, like, oh, it's actually even now, completely even. But I would say if that minion wave had been more stacked and they kept continue pushing, Nolty could have looked for a cheeky dive here as, or not just gank in general, as he was around. But at the same time, Wazer is being visited by Macoon.
Yeah, the flash comes in. He's got himself the Facebreaker shield. Maybe he can get himself something off. Nope.
Ooh.
That is going to be first blood picked up for Rome.
Yeah, and he's just going to be forced to TP back. A minion wave that's stacked towards Rome. This is not a good side for Wazer. Did not have the best game yesterday either. He did suffer from internet issue. He was playing on his mobile data. Obviously not the best setting you can have from it, but this time around, he's just straight up being bullied again. Macoon quickly visiting this top laner, and we're just back to a bit of a stalemate here. Macoon's not even going to look for recall. He actually skipped camps to make that gang work, and he's just going to be clearing out the rest of them now.
Fury jumps into Hatrix's face just to get a little bit of damage off, but Hatrix is okay to do that. Uses the Blade of the Ruin King to catch the minion. 4 minutes in now. XL obviously with that first blood have secured themselves a marginal gold lead. As Dragdar and Prosper, now that their jungler's not on this side of the map, are kind of falling back a little bit more, especially when Dragdar's cleanseless. Traps or hooks could honestly spell his demise.
But remember, what we're looking for a Singularity is this Cockmore towards the late game. He can do an immense amount of damage. Problem will be keeping him alive. And yeah, Des talked a bit about it.
Well, there's the flash as he's able to jump away from Avian. The tether does break, but that trap zone's dragged off from even getting into auto range. Flash burnt by Avian, but has now burnt Dragdar's flash. Dragdar will have his cleanse coming back up, but has played most of this game without his summoner spells up at the same time.
But you gotta enjoy that from Adrian as well, because you already have Hex Flash. So if you trade Flash for Flash, you're completely fine with that. You gain any bush control, you can sit and relax with that Hex Flash. Problem is, that's going to be kind of hard against Karma. You don't usually have the control of these push, and you can already see there's no vision in there. Lane's already pushed, and despite a flashy play coming out from Adrian, they're able to deter them from finding anything. And actually quite clever from Prosper there. So what he did is he walked up to the minion wave, he stacked them, so no matter what, the lane from BTXL was going to slow push towards Singularity, and they were going to lose minions if that happened. So they actually had to stay in an extra minion wave so they wouldn't lose anything. So that's a really good tempo play coming out from Prosper there. You love to see that. These small micro mechanics you can use to gain a small advantage in the game.
Yeah, and Dragdar got a free base off, picked himself up those attack speed boots as Hatrix and Fury just continue to have skirmishes here. Jungler for the side of BTXL is now on this bottom side of the map as Deadly's been heavily chunked out from the poking and prodding from Dragdar and Prosper. As Fury just continues to bully Hatrix here, dodges away on that shot blast and finds himself the stun. Marcoon's coming in, the binding connects from Noti, and that's going to be the kills. Fury flashes away. And another kill has been picked up. It's 1-for-1 so far as Nolty and Marcoon continue to trade out. They use the chains, they use the tether, but Wazor makes sure that Nolty cashes in on a double.
And you love to see that binding coming out from the fuck of war from Nolty. Hatrix did not have time to use his ultimate. If he gets a reset there, that fight is over. But binding came in clutch. And we'll have a replay here to take a look at the action. Once again, you can see Fury doing the Jace things, coming up, poking you down on the turret. And then Hatrix, if he makes that ultimate down here, he might live to see another day. But this time around, Nolty, we talked about it. Fork of War comes through. Marcoon tries to get the trait kill, but a quick flash into another binding for Nolty secures a kill for Wazor, who ripped down to the mid lane.
All right, well, Deadly has been back to base, got himself the Noon Quiver. So Dragdar, obviously being flashless, wanted that extra movement speed from the attack speed boots. Also, attack speed boots, lovely on Cogmore early, so happy with that one. Does mean he should have a little bit of an easier time dodging away from these hooks from Advian. You'd hope.
I mean...
Okay, I just jinxed him. He had to cleanse. Dragdar, that wasn't you.
So
that was all me, mate. That is entirely my fault.
The attack speed boot does help you out as Cockball with the extra attack speed for the on-hit. That's what we meant to say. Forget about the dodging the hooks.
Yeah, not dodging. You don't get movement speed from boots. I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right. Drake obviously has been spawned up for a while now, but it's only now that the pressure is going to come down to anyone actually being able to take it. And the BTXL bot lane is back on the pressure, specifically with Dragdar having no cleanse.
Well, there's the hook. These hooks are just coming in left, right, and center from Advian, and Prosper's going to lose his life, and this means Dragdar has to be careful. Marcoon has that equalizer. Nolty's coming in. Can they get the Black Shield off to keep him alive? It's going to do a little bit, but Marcoon's just chasing him down with a Flame Spitter. Wow. One more hook, one more flake could just seal the deal. The Rocket is going to land, and Hatrix with the Heartbreaker forwards is going to get another kill for his team. Lantern to safety. The tower will come through to secure the kill. Dragdar cashes in on a freebie, but
Dragdar actually put his Cockmore ultimate onto where Adrian was standing, so when Hatrix took the Lantern, he took the artillery shot from that one. Maybe the tower shot would have been enough to kill him, but either way, there's a nice little touch. Wazor now.
Yeah, Romate's just going to get slammed back here as Wazor's continuing to fight him. Cyclone's down, but he's continuing the trade. This is going to be very close, and Romate flashes the minion autos. That's why you check your pots. Now Wazor
Jesus moving up.
Has the wave to work with. Flashes forward, goes for the face breaker. Rome slides in, and Rome dodging it on the shot blast.
Why?
Rome gets away with it.
Fury was on the way. What? Why? Why do you? He just needed to get over with the blast. Oh,
that was I want the kill, not you. This is my kill. I worked for it.
Disaster. I think he thought the Shadow Clone or whatever you want to call it, Jutsu, was still down there from the Wukong, so he thought he could just flash in there, but Face Rager just out of range and not able to actually get the stun onto him here. And BTXL just winning out on all these small skirmishes. And that's not going to make it easier for Singularity, because we talked about it, Jake. They want to be able to scale confidently. And it looked like after the first skirmish they had that was successful in the mid lane, that they were on the right track to do so. But right now, you just seem to be Singularity being punished by BTXL. Now, Rift Herald have spawned after that one, and the first strike can still not be taken. So the first objective of the game, neutral objective, could still go over to Singularity to inject some gold into whatever member you want to. And it seems like they're just going to be able to get this Rift Herald for free, unless BTXL is going to move in there now. No, it's already too late.
Yeah, a little bit too late. Nolty just strutting back towards his jungle. See, we decided to use this as Markin and Wazor going for a fight. Use that equalizer as the Black Shield is coming in, and they're continuing their chase here. Flame Spit is going to come down just as that passes out. It's actually the heartbreak over the wall from Hatrix. He comes in, gets himself a Spectral Moorstun, steals away with a domination, and he's got himself a Face Breaker to use. Nolty's going down as Hatrix just heals back up, and this time he's Morgana.
Yeah, that's so nice from Hatrix. He knows if he gets a reset, he gets the ultimate back anyway, so might as well use it over the wall. And Hatrix, no flash, doesn't even have to use it either. So beautiful stop from Hatrix with the Viego down in the mid lane. We're so used to seeing him in the jungle, but Hatrix once again proving that it is still very much viable as a flex pick.
Deadly looking to try and see if he can pick up onto Dragdar here. Has got Advian on the flank. The teleports are coming in, and they're going to lay down the spit carpet to give a slow, but Dragdar, he's going to get caught out. Cyclone's going to take so much health as Wazor comes in, and Dragdar will lose his life. A flay back onto Wazor, as well as the box is going to slow everybody down. It's a double kill for Arome.
No.
Wazor, the only one left remaining here. And it's a triple kill for Arome.
Herald, though, they can get some gold in the mid lane, but I mean, it's still a loss. Don't get me wrong. This is just like a silver lining for Singularity. I think you need the Herald to take this down. Wow, Macoon!
Oh, Markin's almost killed. Fury here. The equalizer has to get flashed. Goes for the shot blast as the two skill shots just go for a quick
he's
X
fast.
and misses Markoon, and Markoon's hunting him down. One more Flame Spitter. Oh my lord, he does the damn.
And they didn't even get the mid lane tower. They didn't want to use the Rift Herald. And I can't understand it. If they could get the mid lane turret, they'd have the Rift Herald for another turret to get even more gold. But at that point, you just have to take what you can. And I think it's even a very optimistic defensive TP coming in, because you're still going to have a man advantage. So there's not much you're going to be able to do there. I think at this point in time, you just cut your losses. You're like, Dragdar, I'm sorry, but you're just out of this one, mate. There's nothing we can do to help you. In the end, they want to try and save their AD carry, and it just cost them 2 more kills.
Has now got the Negatron Cloak to deal with Markoon as the only AP damage for it, but obviously does want that Wit's End. Dragdar now still flashless. It feels like the entire game, Dragdar hasn't had both summoner spells.
You're right.
And
you're absolutely right.
He might be burning Cleanse in a moment, is getting forced away and not going to be able to go for an opportunity pick here, but it looks like XL are setting up for this first dragon of the game. We're 13 minutes in. It hasn't been too many of those, as the Spectral Maw is going to get popped, and that's going to be the stun onto Nolty. Nolty tries to go for the chains, but will lose his life as Arome secures the kill, and Hatrix takes form as a Morgana.
There we go, and that's just Viego thinks, and 13 minutes into the game, Hitbrain, we're going to have our first Drake. It's not so often we see them to be taking this late, but it's just been a very, very eventful game for BTXL, and they prioritize getting kills over everything.
Hatrix just about survives his life, thanks to the Heartbreaker dash. But let's stay stuck on where we are item-wise. Is all the players other than Advian on the side of XL have now finished up their first item. Obviously, the Blade of the Ruin King on Hatrix, you don't normally go for that Mythic first of all. On the side of Singularity, they are rocking a couple of items himself. Nolty has the Zonya's Hourglass, and there is an Eclipse onto Fury. But outside of that, it is just components, and Fury's feeling it versus Hatrix here. Hatrix has to dash away. Fury does some serious damage to him, and that Rift Herald actually is about to time out, so I don't think Nolty's going to get a chance to place it down. Does put it in the bot lane, I think. Yep.
Did you realized there was a solo kill, right?
Yes, sorry, I was looking at other things on the minimap, but it's Fury had already chunked in. Honestly, I was looking at the minimap because I was like, Nolty, you placing that Herald, bro?
I was like, yeah, I checked my feed for a second to make sure that I was not on the wrong one. But yeah,
No, I'm an idiot.
That's okay. All right.
I wish I checked the minimap in my real games as much as I do in games I'm casting.
You don't need to. I mean,
Yeah, no,
main screen is your main screen is bad as not as it is already. So I mean, you probably want to take stock.
All right, well, let's have a look at the fight that I missed, but everybody else saw.
Yeah, but it's just look at this. It's ridiculous. It's very limit testing. We get it again. Thank you very much.
I hate it here.
Yeah, I mean, Hatrick's just feeling himself.
I want to go home.
I was actually going to talk about the map state in general really favored BTXL, and I think they got a bit too greedy where they wanted to clear all of the jungle they could from the side of Singularity. Whereas I think they should have rotated Deadly into the mid lane a bit faster so they could start pressuring the mid lane and use that rotation towards the top side of the map to get rid of the outer turrets as well. But you can see Singularity, they've caught up on it now. They put their solo laners down in the down in the bot lane, and they put their bot lane in the mid lane. So they're ready for this Herald play. You want to have the mid lane priority for that one, and Singularity, they're quite lucky. They can push it up further than BTXL is going to be able to do. So that gives them a bit more time to work with. When these pushes come out, they can use more time to actually go and clear out the vision. They don't have to be worried too much. But they need to get the vision cleared ASAP because BTXL, they're just ahead of the play. You can see right now the whole entirety blue side jungle is just in the favor of BTXL with that vision. And they're just going to be able to take down the top tower. They are trying to look for a Roman here in the bot lane, but I don't think they're going to get much out of this situation unless the Roman commits.
But he's going to go. The binding actually hits onto the onto the faker Rome. Flashes forward and Rome finds the kill. Nulty lands the binding. He's in the tormented soil. Maybe not feeling it, but another binding by Nulty comes in. A couple of autos. Rome heals up a little bit more. The tormented soil. Nulty with a 1,000 gold shutdown.
And there is
Rome getting a little bit too hypey there.
I mean, there is a world where he can do up. I'm just going to show up.
Rocket hits Prosper, and that's going to be all she wrote on that.
Oh, I guess I'm just gonna continue talking again. Riftail has been summoned up in the mid lane here, but Romain not alive, so that extra TP is not gonna be available for you. But the HP bar right now for Singularity, they're just too damn low. So this is gonna be another turret for BTXL, and they should be able to get the second charge. There shouldn't be anyone stopping this one to come through.
Yeah, Dragdar's not gonna get behind it, and that will be a second charge coming out. So tier 2 turret chunked on the side of BTXL as the equalizer lands onto Nulty. That's going to force him to flash the Spectral more. Will not connect, and now Nulty just being cooked by the Flame Spitter. Beautiful aggro juggling on this tower, and XL get away with their lives.
Yeah, once again, it's they're so good at actually finding these small pigs or these small skirmishes, because right now, a lot of this game has not been about objectives. The Drakes, the Herald, like, it's been for Singularity. Yes, they got the Drake, but it's like 13 minutes into the game, and here we kind of see the replay again, and you got to come into Arome for this one. I think there is a world where you just straight up 1v2 outplay this one. Good knock away from Fury, which forces out the flash from Arome, and I think it's going to come down to this Dark Binding here of Arome actually walking back into it, and if this does not happen, I think he actually is going to be able to take Nulty down, or at least be able to get Outways live. But the rest of the cavalry arrives, and as you talked about yourself, good tower juggling, and they're able to get out of that one scot-free.
Gold lead now, 5,000 gold up for the side of BTXL. You can see where that gold is, a massive lead for Deadly over Dragdar. Mid lane, there is a lead for Fury, kind of negating some of this gold lead, but Advian sniffing for a hook here, not going to find himself a Wazor. As the second dragon of the game spawns, it's definitely been a bit of a slower pace in the dragon department, but XL still keeping their foot on the gas. The tempo is very much in their favor right now.
Yeah, but look at the gold right now. You can see Arome almost 3k ahead, 2k on Deadly, and Hatrick's actually been the only one down in gold here. The rest of them are just up, and they're doing a magnificent job at keeping the opponent at bay, really.
It's just rotating around the map. They've got the Baron Nashor spawning in 50 seconds. And remember, it's a Jinx, a 2-item Jinx, and you got that Viego. You got very fed team. XL can honestly burst through this Baron pretty quick. So something for Singularity are going to have to play around and be careful about. Although, for XL, it's not an easy Baron if Singularity do try and check it. You've got bindings, you've got the Arcane Barrage, or Living Artillery, sorry. Meaning you will take a fair amount of damage. Although Prosper, speaking of taking damage, just gets chunked by Marcoon. As the equalizer is going to force him to flash. Nolty's getting cooked. The rocket's coming in.
Oh, no.
Nolty's the one to chunk it. Hatrix jumping forward with the Spectral Maw, looking for that Heartbreaker onto Dragdar. Will chase for a little bit more, and Hatrix will steal away his form after securing the kill. Spooky Cog now going to start auto-attacking this tower down.
For some reason, that Cockmore looks a bit more spooky when it's on the side of BTXL. Can't really put my finger on why, but they're actually not going to take the inhibitor turret down here. They're just going to go straight up and focus on towards that Baron here. I think it goes down to they don't really need the inhibitor right now. It's open for them to take when they really want to, because they're just that strong that they can force down mid lane if they want to. So now with the Baron buff, when that's active, they can pick up the mid lane inhibitor and they can start going for it. But first, we might see a contest.
Yeah, we are indeed. There's going to be the slam back from the ulti. Rome secures Wazor, though. Advian sails into the backline, and Prosper's fooled in with a face breaker. Haymaker to the face, and his heart is broken by Hatrix, who just flashes over the wall. Here's the equalizer laid down onto Dragdar. Marketing goes golden. It's a double kill for Hatrix as he steals yet another form into Jason. Triple kill for Hatrix now. Nolty could be next up on the menu, but Hatrix is happy and content with his triple. It's back to Baron for the team. Deadly and Avian have started up, and Arome is going to teleport in to make sure that this one is going to go down in favor of BTXL. 21 minutes on the clock. A gigantic gold lead of 8,000 and a Baron Nashor in their pocket. This game is unbelievably XL favored.
I know they're very on the foot on Singularity right now, but still, like, Viego, when he just gets going with those resets, man, he's so disgusting. All right, anyway, going back to the replay. At this point in time, I mean, yes, they can try and contest, but you said it yourself. The gold lead is just huge right now. BTXL is miles ahead of Singularity, and I really see no way of them just walking in there. Like, if you want to get any leverage in this game, it's going to come from small picks with the Dark Binding, not full-line team fights when you're this far behind. And you can see BTXL not afraid to just turn off the Baron and just go straight into the fray and pick up the team fight instead.
As we head back onto the Rift, we can see that XL are looking to set up potentially that 1-3-1. Arome actually grouping up the rest of the team in the mid lane, so it's a bit more like a 4-1 for the moment. They're leaning heavily towards this bottom side of the map, setting themselves up with the waves as Hatrix is going to escort this wave into the tower, and it looks like this tier 2 in the bot lane will not be long for the world. We did see Arome having a little bit of a light scrap versus Fury there, although Advian and the rest of the team are about, as Advian will miss the hook. The binding will connect as well, and continues to do a little bit of poke damage here or there. Nolty's taking some serious damage as the equalizer into the stun. Nolty has to stopwatch. That harpoon would have ended him if he hadn't stopwatches. The Mega Death Rocket is going to go a little bit wide from Deadly. Deadly's just poking and prodding onto Dragdar. Dragdar able to dodge away. They are throwing out these living artilleries, but these towers are taking so much damage as Arome just slides into everyone, has those cyclones to go. He's going to get himself 1 kill already. Is going to go down in response, though, as XL will trade out 1-for-1. Ultimately, will be able to take himself an inhibitor. Deadly almost going down to that shot blast. Fury just needs to find one more of those. Doesn't quite have the acceleration gate up yet. And XL will be happy with their kill and their inhibitor.
Yeah, you can't really underestimate the damage from Fury here. Got the Eclipse, got the Muramana, so he is still a reliable carry from Singularity right now, but the problem is that you're the only one who is. And on the side of BTXL, pretty every member of their team is capable of carrying outside of Advian in a team fight, so it's really not easy to play a Singularity. And the only thing you can be happy about right now is that BTXL did not start their Drake stacking earlier. This could potentially have been sold. It would not be uncommon to have sold 24 minutes into the game, but this time around it is only going to be the third, and it does net you 5 extra minutes to play the game if you're even able to hold on for so long.
I just don't know if they can. Dragdar with the Phantom's Answer and that Wit's End is in his inventory, while Deadly with a 2-level lead, Infinity Edge, Hurricane, and Rapid Fire Cannon and Kraken Slayer. I swear I know the items of this game.
I'm very proud of you.
One whole item and one very expensive item up over Dragdar right now, meaning Deadly's output of damage is just far superior. Binding goes down, and that actually might be a bit of a go button as Dragdar just gets chunked out. Here's the rocket. Prosper is going to be on the receiving end as Hatrix jumps forward with the Heartbreaker, does miss out and takes a lantern to safety. Wazor now gets a face breaker onto Free. The damage is turning around, and Singularity trying to find their opportunity as Arome's been zoned. XL are low, but Wazor will lose his life. The binder by Nolty is going to go wide, and Arome just going to use the Cyclone, and Everfrost will root a couple of members, but Nolty Won't be long for the world as Arome takes him down. Dragdar just continuing to get poked and prodded. Arome slides in forwards. Can't quite finish him off as the zap goes a little bit wide by Deadly. Deadly no flash, so Deadly's not going to be able to find anywhere to follow up, but he's going to start up on these towers and start up on the end of this game. The first Nexus tower will fall here as the hook goes a little bit wide. And Deadly not actually going to finish the tower up quite yet, but it's by the book here for BTXL as they take all of the inhibitors in the base, and Singularity are going to be able to strong arm the members of XL out of their base for now, but Hatrix just flashes forward. Dragdar comes in for the cleanse. The hook goes a little bit wide. That could have been a big shutdown. And there it is, Dragdar with the snipe. Now Deadly on the receiving end from Fury. Just going to get the damage off, and he finds himself a shutdown. Living artillery is raining down on the side of BTXL, but Arome is here, and it's Prospera and Dragdar who are going to receive so much hurt. Here comes the double kill for Arome. XL won't need to secure this dragon. They can probably just close out now.
Yeah, Nolty trying to stop. They might even... Oh, yeah, Scrap Shield is going to be there, so kill won't go over, but XL being a little overconfident in the beginning. Hatrix once again flashing forward with the W only to dive afterwards, but then it comes down to Singularity. They're not waiting for Roma to be right around the corner. But here we kind of see it again. Hatrix flashing forward. Dragdar finding delivered literally way more free range around Dragdar, where Hatrix kind of had to navigate around the terrain here. And then Fury, once again, he is a threat. As soon as he flashes onto Deadly and he's got no summoner spells or ways to get out alive, he's just dead. But this is where it comes down to what we talked about. They over-chase for a bit there, Singularity. And, you know, the Fat Monkey is just waiting around the corner.
Yeah, he's able to blow anybody up who steps close. Dragdar now starting up that mythic item with the Noon Quiver, but I mean, Deadly now closing in on what I assume will be a Bloodthirster. And honestly, I don't think we're going to see that Bloodthirster finish this game. I think XL are just going to brute force their way through the mid lane with these super minions and look to close the game out. Shot Blast lands onto Advian. It only really tickles him. Fury can chunk the squishies, but Advian, a bit of a different story though. He continues to take poke. He will go low. It's going to hook a minion for the moment. And XL looking for this final close. They've got that equalizer, and Deadly is outputting some serious damage.
Yeah, now they're all coming in here. You gotta expect it to fall now.
That's going to be the end of the game here. The turret goes down, and Deadly just looking to pad those stats. Wazel doing his best to deal some kind of damage, but it's not going to be enough here. The Nexus is exposed, and BTXL just waiting for their minions to collapse in, waiting to make sure it's safe as Arome comes in with a Cyclone. Fury will find himself a shutdown actually picked up onto his AD carry, and they are looking for a quick turn on to Deadly. Deadly able to survive all of this though, and he just turns it back around as Fury gets the slam off. Hatrix will use a Heartbreaker and survive, but the Nexus goes down. 27 minutes on the clock with 40 kills on the board. BTXL are going to close this game out.
Yeah, there's still room for improvement, but this time around, BTXL way more convincing than yesterday's appearance. And Singularity still having some struggles in the early game here. We saw it a bit yesterday where they had some slow days, but I mean, you are playing against BTXL, and it is arguably going to be the hardest team in your group. But BTXL this time around, very convincing.
Honestly, an incredibly convincing game there from BTXL. Well, like you said, there is stuff to improve, but you know they've had a month off since the European Masters, so they've had some time. Feels like yesterday was them kind of just shaking the rust off, and now they're starting to find their stride. And you know that's a great start for them. 2-0 at the beginning of the first week here at the NLC. But for now, it's time for a break. We'll be back in a moment with our analyst desk to do what they do best: argue and break things down.
Well, XL did what we expected, and I think honestly, they went from yesterday to where they went to today, much stronger, much more confident, and I would guess expected performance from XL coming into this. Although the damage, the champion damage from Jace that came kind of nutty. Not gonna lie, that's a lot of damage coming from Jace, but really well executed by XL in general.
The only reason you see that much damage from Jace is because he was the only one safe enough to do damage from a distance. Anyone who go close to a Wukong, to a Viego, in range of the Jinx, were like in big trouble because, quite frankly, Orome absolutely smurfed the shish out of this game. Like
the sheep.
I don't know what to
say. Speaking of Orome, we've got him here for an interview, so I'm gonna bring him in. Orome, it's been a while since you've got all of us interviewing you. By the way, it's not just me this time. It's been a while since we got to chat to you, and I kind of want to go back to the interview that we gave to you in spring. I want to talk about a couple of things, if that's okay with you. First of all, you obviously did really well in NLC Spring, and you made it to the finals of the European Masters. For you personally, I mean, and obviously I think XL will be relatively happy with that overall. But for you personally, are those some goals that you feel proud of having achieved through your split?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think I wasn't expecting to win EU Masters in our first split as a team. I was more so expecting to develop, and our second split to be the one where we get what we worked for, basically EU Masters finals. This is what we're aiming for on this split. But last split, I think we were all happy with getting to the finals.
And you guys, you made us very proud. Everybody here is so proud of what you guys did through the European Masters, and we're really happy that NLC finally got shown, what we can do. And I also want to talk to you a little bit about, because when we talked, we had quite a raw interview where you kind of said, I struggled with my love for the game. Like, I struggled with my love for League of Legends, and that was kind of impacting how I felt about the game and how I felt about my performance. How has this split been for you for that? Like, have you felt like you found yourself again as a player, and you felt like you're starting to enjoy playing League again a lot more?
Well, I would definitely say so, especially towards the end of EU Masters, like after the first week, which was kind of bad for me. I had a rough look at myself and what I want to do in the game, and I just did it. And I don't know, it awoke something inside me throughout the EU Masters, and I just played differently since then. Like I just enjoy the game, and I'm much better at what I do than before.
First of all, I'm like extremely happy that you guys got to the finals of EU Masters with such a convincing showing as well, because we didn't have the chance to talk to you about that one. And been following your career ever since you started from the Balkans, where I started as well. I'm like extremely proud of where you've come and your journey of going back to the ERL to make it back big. Did you guys expect to make EU Masters finals, or was that a long project? Yes, in mind, but was it like an actual feasible dream or project that you guys were like, yeah, we expected to go to the finals, that was it?
I think we went into EU Masters with no expectations, to be honest, especially after the first week where we went 1-2. But we also never expected to lose. So every time we had a game, we just went into it, no expectations, not thinking, oh, we're going to lose this game or we're not going to get further, but not thinking, oh, this game is free, we're going to win it. So we just took it step by step, and we were in the finals before we know it.
Yeah, and specifically the Carmine Corp in those finals, was that, Carmine Corp, did you feel like they were just the strongest opposition in the entire tournament? I think a lot of people clearly put them at the top of their tier lists when it came to European Masters opposition. And also, how do you feel about Adam? Because obviously he was the guy that you played up against. He obviously then went on to go be picked up by Fnatic. How do you feel about Adam? Do you think he's like a rookie that's got a lot of potential as well?
First of all, I do think that K-Corp was the best team in the tournament. I think they were a better team than us, and it showed in the finals as well. And about Adam, I do think he has a lot of potential, but he still has a lot of stuff to learn about top lane as a rookie, which is fine. I think it was his first competitive split, if I'm not mistaken. Like, you learn these things with time, and it takes experience. So it's, of course, he's not going to be perfect from his first run, but he does have a lot of potential.
Yeah, I think it was a great performance, or a great tournament for both you guys, both the teams really, when it came to the European Masters. And again, like I said, it was a really exciting entire tournament and really exciting series in the finals as well. Rome, honestly, really thank you for being honest with us and chatting with us. I really do love interviewing you, and I'm glad that you're feeling better and more positive about the game as well, because it clearly shows in the way that you're playing. Like, it really does show in the way that you're playing. You are starting to look almost like back to that really intense top laner that we saw from you when you first popped onto the scene, and I'm loving that, and I really want to keep seeing that from you through summer. And hopefully next time we chat to you after summer, it's when you've won the European Masters. So I will hopefully get to see you then.
Thank you very much.
I think we've got Professor Jamada coming in for breaking down and playing that game. Really lovely to chat to Rome, by the way. I love how honest he is, and I love how he just like, and how like he's just so willing to talk about like his strengths and weaknesses, and that to me is what makes a great player. Like, someone who recognizes their strengths and weaknesses, knows what they want to improve on, and then does it. And he clearly did. Like, he set out at the start of spring with some goals, and I'd say that he achieved them, and now he's just going to go from strength to strength, hopefully. So you know what, really lovely interview with the Rome. Jamada, I've got to get onto the drawing board though. We took a long time talking to Rome there for good reason, but let's have a look at her play.
Yeah, so honestly, this was one of those games where it's hard to draw a play from, per se. At this point, the game's not necessarily over, but it's pretty good for SNG. But I really wanted to just kind of highlight, because we've not seen a lot of Viego, the kind of strength this champion does have, and the kind of playstyle of you give him an inch and he will take a full mile. So right here, you can see at the moment, XL, they've just come off the back of a play where they've taken down Drakthar, and they're going back towards the Baron area, because they kind of know, you know, Deadly is already at 2 items. That's kind of the go-ish button to try and start a Baron up, and SNG have practically no vision on the minimap at all, bar there's a ward up here in the tri-bush. Oh, I'm using lines instead of arrows. Yeah, there's no vision basically for SNG. That's the underlining fact. And they go to try and slowly check here into Baron, and XL, they immediately come off of the Baron, which they just started up, and Orome just immediately starts bursting people down, and immediately you see first reset comes in over here, and from this moment on, I still haven't used the right line. From this moment on, the fight's kind of already done. You're going to see the lander comes in from Advian, Facebreaker, Haymaker, and look how much damage the Execute does from his own Monster Prosper. Practically half HP. And this is the strength of Viego, is that when you actually siphon a champion and you take over them, you get their cooldowns immediately back up. And it just means sometimes you're allowed to just kind of do these bonkers things where you just go reset after reset after reset after reset. And SNG, there's nothing they can really do. Drakthar just came back out of base. He's going back to the fountain already. Obviously, XL, they're very far ahead, but this is the kind of thing that Viego alone as a champion is capable of doing sometimes. And I just thought I'd highlight that, because honestly, there was no real macro rotation, great, level of anything to sort of highlight in that one.
Jamada, I'm going to give you a solid 6 out of 10. I think the content was there. The execution needs a bit of work, but you know what? We've got time. We've got weeks and weeks of splits here, weeks and weeks of games, rather, Jamada, for you to break down. So we'll eventually select the right line on the tool. I've got to go to break. My producer's going to start hitting me in the head. So we've got another game. Going to our 4th one of the night. It's going to be Dusty versus Tricked. We'll see you soon.